Welcome again to Monica's Thread Unleashed, the podcast where real sports talk fans, just like you, talk to each other just the way you talk to each other. Real fans, real talk. Hi, this is Bill from Chevy Chase. I am here again with the First Lady of Sports Talk, Monica from Allentown, and our executive producer, Sam from Utah. Football season is finally back, if football season ever really leaves us in this society. But we are starting our discussions of the NFL with a look at the teams through the eyes of their fans. Screw objectivity. This year, there's no better team to start with than the preseason favorite, Los Angeles Rams, and no better fan to do it with than the man who I'm guessing has made more calls to the station than anyone else and who should have been a creative consultant to the TV series The OC. And of course, I speak of Mike from Orange County. Joining Mike to discuss the Rams is Mad Dog Inner Circle member and maybe a little obsessed with the cutout in his office of Mad Dog, but we'll leave that alone. I'm still having trouble processing that. Brian from New Jersey, welcome and thank you for agreeing to spend some time with us and sharing your thoughts on your favorite football team. Monica.
Well, your favorite football team and more. Hi, gentlemen. Michael, how are you?
Fantastic. I feel like I just got the call from the minors for this show. Absolutely fantastic. In the
and
starting lineup.
and Brian, great to see you again. How are you?
I'm very good, Monica. Thanks a lot for having me on.
Absolutely. So before we get into the Rams discussion, a few things. Mike, we missed you at Bar A last month. We hope you had a great time in Hawaii, and obviously hope you can make it to Bar A next year.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you heard or not, but I kind of was there in a sense when David from Maryland rang me about 7:30 Hawaiian time 4 times. And my wife was sleeping. I'm like, I'm going to go outside and take the call. So I went outside my room and I literally FaceTime David back, and all you guys were not who I saw exactly. And I'm in the hallway, but the hallway was echoing. I didn't know that. And I'm like, hey, how you guys doing? And my wife's like, what are you doing? It's 8 in the morning.
You gotta love David from Maryland.
Oh my God, David is a maniac. But look at this guy's had a great time. Great interviews, great videos, the dinners. Jimmy filled me in, so sorry to miss it. Great time in Hawaii, beautiful time. Hopefully next year.
Yes, David definitely maximized his Bar A experience. Let us just
as always.
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. And Brian, it's great to see you again. Much cooler at Bar A this year than last year, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess anything under 100 was going to work this year compared to last year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a great time. You know, great time as always, and you know, it's just amazing this family that's been built here. So I'm glad to be a small part of it, and you know, looking forward to many more Bar A appearances.
Absolutely. All right, Brian, we're going to start with you. We're going to talk a little sports fandom. Who are your sports teams, and how and why did a Jersey guy become a Rams fan?
You know, Monica, it's actually pretty simple. Like many kids, uniforms catch my eye. And the first uniform that ever caught my eye as a 7-year-old kid was the Houston Astros. So the rainbow uniform, giant star, orange hat, like, you know, who's wearing that? And that was my team. And then, you know what, as an East Coast kid, you're stuck here in the winters and in Jersey, and everything Hollywood was just made to be cool. So as a 7-8-year-old kid, Hollywood is palm trees, actresses, all of those glitzy things that New Jersey doesn't have. And I'm like, you know what? That's my type of scene. So I said, I can't like the Dodgers because I have a baseball team already. So I'm going cool Los Angeles with everything. Lakers, Rams, Kings, and hockey. I will be fair. Basketball as a sport lost me in the mid 90s. But, you know, people that know me right now know that I'm not a basketball fan. They can't believe that as a kid, I was as big a Laker fan as I am a Rams or Astro fan. But, you know, I guess if I had one moment where basketball lost me, it was probably the Fab Five with Michigan, and just with the baggy shorts and everything else like that, and the game just turned me off from that point. So I've dropped the Lakers. I would have had more championships as a fan if I stuck with the Lakers, but right now it's just Astro, Rams, and Kings.
All right.
It's funny you mentioned the shorts. Yeah, go back and look at a team photo of the Bill Walton Championship Trailblazers. It's almost obscene.
Yeah,
by today's standards. But anyway,
I mean, listen, the '80s Lakers wore them too. It was the same type of thing. I mean, you look at Kareem, you look at Worthy, all those teams. It was the same thing. But just the gradual change. But and the game today is just unrecognizable to me with the amount of 3-pointers, and there's nothing going on, and I just have no interest, which is one of the reasons why when basketball gets going on Mad Dog Show, you never hear from me, because I just have no interest in the sport.
Neither does Mad Dog. So.
I was just going to say that. I mean, really, neither does Mad Dog.
That's true.
Mike, Brian, before we go to Mike, you're also a coach. What sports do you coach?
I coach head coach for girls soccer and the head coach for softball.
Wow. Okay. All right. Thanks for giving back, Brian. We need good coaches. We need officials. I know that world. So thanks so much for doing that. Okay, Michael. We all
Yes, ma'am.
know your love for UCLA, the Rams, the Lakers, and the Angels. When did you start following your teams, and which of those teams is your favorite?
Listen, for me, it's always been about basketball. I've been a Laker fan. I mean, I was born in Inglewood, near the Forum, right? We lived in LA till I was 8 or 9. We moved out to Orange County, but we always went to Laker games. My first memory, Bill, you'll like this, about 1970, go to the Forum. I'm walking by Chamberlain, West, and Goodrich. No, Baylor. Golden Gills there. And I'm walking by the seats, and I'm like 9 years old. I see Wilt on the court. So the Lakers have always had this hold on me. Of course, they won in 72, and of course, they lost the Knicks a couple of times with those Showtime hit, Monica. Magic, are you kidding me? The best era for me in sports was the 80s Lakers. That was the absolute best. Every night was a thrill, and I've never seen a player like Irvin Magic Johnson that elevated a team to championship level that young, that quick. And then he had 42 and Game 6 and on and on and on. So I've always loved the Lakers. But at the same time, listen, the Rams, my dad and I were going to Rams games in the 70s. He was born in L.A., 1926. He was an L.A. native. The Rams came here in 46, right? So he was going to games with my uncle, the Coliseum, Waterfield, and Elroy Hirsch, Tom Fears, all these old Rams in the 60s with the Fearsome Foursome. I started going in the 70s, to some games and saw the Steelers, saw Bradshaw come in and Franco Harris in a Saturday night game. Remember, I was 14. So there's a big Ram history for me, too. And the Ram history is huge in Southern California because they were the first team here before the Lakers and the Dodgers. Don't forget. But the move to Anaheim really probably wasn't a great thing in 80 from the late great Carol Rosenblum, because then it just kind of went. It was good for a few years, then it went downhill. But anyhow, basketball. I go probably basketball, baseball with my Angels, and probably football. But I tell you, with the Rams now, it's like they're up. They are right there because they're so good. So great to see them.
Got it. Well, we're going to get to that. Right before we do so, one more question, and we like to ask our callers. Brian, I'll start with you. Do you remember your first call to Mad Dog or your most memorable call to Mad Dog, and if you would be able to share that with us?
Well, I used to call as with Mike, and living in Jersey, and when Mike and Chris were on. I will tell you though, the one call that I do remember when Mad Dog moved over to satellite, and I think I remember the name, but when he first started, they used to have this show right after it where they took the callers and they would actually call you back. And I don't know what it was called. It was the bullpen.
I think it was called Dog Bites. No, wasn't it Dog Bites?
Something like from 7 to 8, they would call you back. And one of the first calls that I made to that show, it was on the topic of whether I thought Craig Biggio was a Hall of Famer, or was he a compiler? And they liked my call, and they took my home number down, and like 7:15, my home phone rang, and it was them calling me back for more input on whether I thought Biggio was a Hall of Famer. So I and that callback show couldn't have lasted 2 months. I mean, it was over pretty quickly. But when he came over, it was, he was on. Was he 2-7, and then or 3-7, whatever it was, something that
It was
to
a
7.
lot more than it is now. That's for
No,
sure.
for sure. For sure. I mean, I remember when he renewed his contract and he went 3-6. I'm like, wow, only 3 hours. But for whatever reason, I still remember his early days and that callback show and getting a call back and talking about whether I thought Biggio was a Hall of Famer.
I remember that. I think they called me back on a call, and you're right. It lasted a very short amount of time. Michael, do you remember your first call to Doggy or your most
Well,
memorable one?
as Bill alluded to, I've called so many times. But by the way, Bill, I think you're catching up because you've called a lot of shows lately too in the last couple of years. So between you and me and maybe Dr. Falcon and Chad, I don't know. It's interesting. There's a lot of calls being made, but we're all loyal fans. That's the bottom line. But for me, I think I'm trying to think of the evolution. So I got serious listening to Stern, avid Stern fan. And then somewhere along the line around 2017, I knew Chris from the Letterman appearances. Obviously in Southern California, we didn't get the fan, right? So I didn't hear the show. But when he was on Letterman, I go, the hell is this guy? He was great. So then I probably switched over 82. So there's Russo, there's Shine, and next thing you know, I'm calling. I think one of the first calls though, and if you remember, because that's right around the time Shohei got to the Angels, I'd call and say, listen, Chris, this guy is amazing, right? He pitches and hits. He's no Babe Ruth. What are you talking about? He's at that Babe Ruth numbers. He's yelling at me. And then he used to joke like, Mike's in his, it's so funny because he always thinks I'm a lawyer, an accountant,
Yes.
something else, which I'm not. He goes, Mike's in his law office right above Angel Stadium watching Trout run laps. I mean, something like that. I remember he'd say. So one of those, I don't remember the first one, but probably something alluding to Ohtani and the Angels. I'm almost certain.
Got it. Bill.
Okay, so let's turn to football. Mad Dog always says, beware of the trendy pick. And I think that's a very good observation. The guy has very good big picture sports instincts. And let's face it, right now, the Rams are a very trendy pick. To hear some people say it, it's all over, but figuring out who's going to Disneyland or Disney World or wherever they send them these days. As Rams fans, does that make you guys a little nervous? Brian, you first.
Bill, it does, but I got two angles for that. So number one, they did the exact same thing in 2021. They won the Super Bowl. So they went all in, and they were a trendy pick then with Stafford, and they ended up winning it. So the franchise has done it already. I know a couple years ago when the Eagles built that super team and they fell on their face, a lot of people remember that. But the Rams went all in a few years back, and it worked for them. So they've done it already. I have a ton of faith in what Snead does. I got a ton of faith in McVay as a coach. The negative of it is, Bill, if I'm being honest, and Mike will tell you, and listen, the Rams, we lose a lot of weird games. Whether it's going back to the 80s when the John Taylor took 2 90-yard touchdowns on Monday Night Football, or last year, like you look at the 5 games the Rams lost last year, they were absurd. And I'm not exaggerating that. I mean, they lose the Eagle game. Kyron Williams fumbles in the 49er game. They lose the Panther game when they throw an interception off of a guy's shoulder pad. I mean, so like historically, the Rams just lose a lot of weird games over the years that are like head scratchers. So not the super team, Bill, but like just the fact of being a Rams fan, we just have a lot of unexplained losses, and that stuff always seems to creep into my head.
So Mike, I'm not going to ask you like the most rhetorical question ever. Do you pick the Rams to win the Super Bowl? Tell me who is the biggest threat to the Rams in the NFC. And let me ask you this. Tell me if the Rams don't win the Super Bowl, who does?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the threat, I mean, there's several. I think the NFC's always, look, it was tough last year. It's tough this year. The Seahawks are loaded again, obviously, right? I mean, they won it last year. Give them credit. They're going to be there. You figure, one of those teams from the Central, whether it be, maybe the Lions, maybe the Packers, but who knows? Any of those teams could compete. Dallas, everybody likes Dallas. We'll have to see. But definitely, this is the most hyped team ever, I think, in the Rams. And I've been watching this team for what, since '70 or so. This is definitely the most hype. Because, Bill, if you remember, in the '70s, they won a division every year for 7 years. But
Yeah.
they always had these crazy losses. Brian, before your time, they had a Mud Bowl game at the Coliseum. It never rains in Southern California. It poured that week. They played the Vikings. Muddy field. We couldn't do anything. Pat Hayden couldn't grip the ball. They lost 14-7. Dad and I listened to that game on the radio because it was blacked out back then, home games, blacked out playoff games. Crazy losses like that. There's one in Minnesota, like a Ron Jesse couldn't get in the end zone. They tried a field goal, went 99 yards the other way. Brian, you touched on some of those Monday night games, and recently we've had the crazy games too. Like you say, like go back to last year, that Eagles game we should have won. The Seahawks crazy game we're up 16. Thursday night game, which we lost in that stupid 2-point call. So the Rams kind of feel they could have been the Super Bowl champs. And you take it back even 2 years ago against the Eagles when they got down there and Puka, right? They caught the ball and Stafford's down in the 10 in the snow. They really feel they've been the best team for the last 3 years, I think. And last year was just terrible because the Seahawks game was crazy. But the fact is, we didn't have any defense of secondary, no secondary all year, and that's what lost us that game against the Seahawks. And that was our Achilles heel. So this year they got it all, right? They bring in the guys from Kansas City, right? They got that. Their running backs are there. Puka's back. Devontae Adams. So it's our year. But when you say it's our year, you know how that goes. Football, anything can happen. It's a physical sport. It's all about number 9, who he's one of the greats of all time. Keep him upright. Keep him what he's doing. We got a great shot. The other conference, I mean, I don't know. I don't see anybody. Patriots, I don't think they're going to kind of, do what they did last year.
No.
Who else is in there? I mean, I don't know.
Buffalo.
Chiefs maybe will bounce back. The Rams are definitely the favorites, but it starts out tough in Australia. They got a long flight, 17 hours, got to come back and play the Giants 10 days later. So we'll take it week by week because, like Brian said, there's always some weird stuff that goes on with this organization and team. So let's see if we get another one this year.
Well, let's talk about where I think the Rams look vulnerable, and that's at quarterback. And no, I'm not talking about Matt Stafford.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the best quarterback in football he was
Yeah.
last year. But a chain is only as strong as its weakest, or should I say, most fragile link. And the man is 38 years old. Now, any team loses its quarterback, and it's got a big problem. But some teams are better prepared than others. We got more than we wanted to hear if we're not diehard Rams fans, and maybe even if we are, about the backup situation with the Rams with the Ty Simpson pick. And everybody trying to analyze the look on McVay's face. Was he pissed? Was he this? Was he that? How well could the Rams handle the loss of Stafford? Are they dead meat if that happens, or could they navigate it? And is Simpson the backup quarterback, or is it somebody else? Who would step in, and how bad would it be? Brian, why don't you start with that one?
Bill, I'm not 100% convinced right now that the Rams' backup quarterback is currently on their roster.
Okay.
That's if it happened today, Stetson Bennett would be the backup. But I'm still not convinced. And I mean, I don't think that the Rams can win consistently with Stetson Bennett as quarterback. And I was definitely hoping that they brought Garoppolo back. I know he hasn't officially announced his retirement, but I have to imagine that as camp goes on and these, McVay was uncertain whether Stetson Bennett's going to play against Kansas City this week. But if the preseason goes on and Bennett does play and he's not, what it's supposed to be, I mean, I could see, if somebody gets cut, I could see them essentially begging Garoppolo to come back because they are a Super Bowl caliber team, And I loved having Garoppolo the last 2 years because whether people can make fun of him or not, Garoppolo took a team to the Super Bowl. So
I agree.
think if Garoppolo was still there, I think they could afford to, quote unquote, afford to lose Stafford. I don't think that's the case right now, but Bennett is the backup. Simpson is third, but again, I'm not 100% sold that the Rams' backup quarterback for the season is on the roster right now.
Mike, any thoughts on that one?
I agree. It's really weird. First of all, that was such a weird pick. I don't care what you say, because I thought they were going to go for Lemon. Lemon literally is down the street at USC. And Les Snead's, I think it's his daughter or son. They go to USC. He was going to USC games to see Makai Lemon out there. They could always need help at receiver, right? You never know. But they go with Simpson. But supposedly there's a relationship between Simpson and Les and the dad or something. Simpson's dad. They know each other. It's a weird pick. Not saying that could be good. So it's really weird because, you're right, Stetson Bennett, he's been on the team, but he hasn't even really been on the roster the last couple. He hasn't really been around. There's been issues. And I guess this year he's on the roster. I thought, too, Jimmy G would be back. They need a legitimate number 2. But anytime you go down the one, your chances of winning going all the way are not good. I mean, how many guys have, how many number ones have gone down where they've won? Well, go back to Earl Morrall? What are we doing here? I mean, I don't know. It's going to be tough. So we got to hope and pray. Because when Stafford did go down that year for the Super Bowl, we were cooked. We were cooked. So
Nick Foles
yeah.
did it.
Who?
Nick Foles for the Eagles.
Yeah, that's a good one.
They did it, and I'm getting on a tangent. I think you can actually make the argument he might have had the best quarterbacking game, all things considered, in the history of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's for another day. The other thing, I agree, by the way, I don't understand the mockery, the lack of respect for Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not, you do a lot worse than him as your backup quarterback, a lot worse than him.
Bill, he won 75% of his games with the Niners. They treat him up there like he's a pariah, which kills me. And the Niner fans, I despise the Niners.
And they were, he was one throw away. I mean, he overshot Deebo Samuels on that deep route. They would have beat the Chiefs. So Garoppolo's a good quarterback.
He's
not as bad as people make out.
He's something like in the top 3 all-time of efficiency rating of NFL quarterbacks. Anyway, Sam, you got something?
Yeah, let's talk about the opposite side of the ball, which I'm curious you guys' thoughts. Aaron Donald, everyone's talking about he's going to come out of retirement, age 35. This could be the dream combination, playing with Myles Garrett. It's kind of sports talk gold, but he is older, 2 years removed from playing. Brian, I'll go to you first. Do you expect him to play? And if he does, how likely is it going to be? How good is he going to be for this team?
I mean, with what you're seeing right now with all the videos, I would expect him to play. I mean, it sure looks that way. He's working real hard. I mean, everything's trending in that direction of him coming back. I also think, again, my own personal opinion, this notion that he's coming back to play 30 snaps a game, I just don't think that's who he is. I don't think he's coming back as a part-time player. And I've heard the 30 snaps a game. I've heard he's going to come back in week 9 or whatever it is. Like, I just think he has such a level of greatness that if Aaron Donald is coming back, he's coming back as Aaron Donald. And not some form of Donald. It's going to be him, and I mean he's going to obviously dictate his own terms. So I think I really believe if he feels he can be the player that he was, he would come back. So if he does, suit up again, I would expect him to be very close to what he was. The only thing I would say, Sam, with that, and again, Mike will know as a Rams fan, everybody thinks that Donald and Myles Garrett are going to sack the quarterback on every play. And the truth of the matter is the Rams have the past couple of years have had a good front four. And what they don't have are good linebackers. And they can't, when they don't get to the quarterback and these teams get rid of the ball quick, these guys are open on those 7-8 yard routes, which as a Rams fan still worries me because obviously we shored up the secondary, but going into the games like the Seahawk game last year, the Rams were one step behind, Darnold constantly getting rid of the ball. And okay, we got the back end covered, but if you're going to rush the quarterback with guys like Garrett and Donald, these players, the quarterbacks are going to get rid of the ball quickly. And if you're going to get rid of the ball quickly, it's going to be those 5 to 10 yard routes that are linebacker responsibility, and the Rams aren't great there. So again, we all, like, everybody thinks Donald and Garrett, oh my gosh, how are offensive linemen going to handle that? They're not going to get to the quarterback on every play. And what happens when the quarterback gets rid of the ball in 3 seconds? It's a concern.
Gotcha. That's valid. Mike?
See, I'll tell you right now, if Aaron Donald comes back, I'm taking my shirt off and running the streets of Orange County. I'm just on the news. Are you kidding me? This would be incredible if he comes back. One thing about him, and Brian knows, I mean, the guy he has so much pride. And you've looked at him since he's retired, and you've seen videos. He's staying in shape. He's like lifting his wife up in the air, one arm, whatever it is. So, no doubt he will not come back unless he could be that Aaron Donald. He has that much pride for the game and for his ability, right? He's got to be good. He's not come back to be part-time, I don't think, to play this many. He wants to come back to be Aaron Donald, pretty close to what he was before, which is obviously one of the best we've ever seen. Triple teamed at times during games. So it'll be interesting. It looks like it's trending that way. McVay's always smiling when he's talking about it. So it seems like it. You see the videos, but we'll wait and see. But if he does with those two and Myles Garrett, I mean, it's going to be really fun to see what they could do. Who you got to guard? You still got Turner, and you still got everybody else up there, and Young. I mean, it's just a better defense. And like I said, they got the secondary guys now. So got Landman, who came in last year and just looked really good. So there's definitely they've improved. They've definitely improved. If they throw Aaron into this mix, it's just going to be it's going to make them that much better. So we'll just have to wait. Probably coming up soon. We're going to hear about this. I think in probably the next few weeks here. Before the season starts.
I personally don't like it.
Florio reported that Donald was going to make a decision by the end of the week. So who knows?
Could be.
I guess we'll wait and see. I personally don't like it. I don't know. This isn't, Tom Brady where you're retired for 6 months and then you come back. I mean, I don't know. He can do what he wants, but 2 years. I mean, once you get Myles Garrett, you got Watson and you got McDuffie. They're going to be great for you, by the way. I'm upset, but they're going to be great. But I don't really like.
And we play this year, by the way, too. The Chiefs, Rams.
Yeah, Chiefs got a hard schedule, so we'll see how they make it out of it alive. Yeah. But I got a weird question for both of you. So I'm studying Deacon Jones, one of the best defensive linemen you guys ever had, part of the Fearsome Four.
Yeah.
And the question I have is, Deacon Jones made a significant cultural contribution to football that still exists today in the game. Do you guys know what I'm referring to?
I'm not sure about that, but I got a Deacon story if you want to hear that. That'll crack you up, maybe. But maybe we'll answer. Cultural contribution. Now, I know Rosie Greer, and Bill, you may know this. Rosie Greer was actually one of RFK's bodyguards. Did you know that?
Yeah,
the night he was killed. So with Rosie Greer and also Rayford Johnson. And they never obviously got over that. They were that close to RFK, RFK. But it was crazy. Rosie was there. Deacon had his cultural contribution. I mean, he was different. Let me tell you real quick, Sam. So he lived, a lot of these Rams live in Orange County. I mean, Jack Youngblood lived around the corner from me, for goodness sakes. I mean, Ritz Saul sold real estate, everything. So anyhow, Deacon used to live in my friend's neighborhood in a gated community. My friend would go to work. This after he retired, obviously. Deacon would pull up in his limo like 6 a.m, getting out of the limo, right? And he goes, "Have a good day, man. It's been a tough night." Deacon lived large. He passed away. But I'm not sure about your cultural contribution. I don't know that one.
Give him the answer, Sam. Oh, the answer that Sam's referring to is
Bill can give it to you.
He's the guy who coined the term the sack.
Yeah, because they didn't keep track back then.
Right, but he actually gave it the name. We say sacks because of Deacon Jones. Yes.
Yeah.
So
David Deacon Jones.
Yeah, he referred it to, being
Uh-huh.
You referred it to like, rushing the offensive lineman and then getting the quarterback. That's like putting them all in a paper bag. A paper sack is what he said, and then beating them over
Yeah.
the head with a baseball bat. So that's where they coined the term
Good
sack.
job,
But
Sam.
They
We learned
thank
something.
you.
Good
Sam, that
job.
was
Thank
great.
you. I
But
did
that
learn that.
fearsome
I learned that
foursome,
this year. They
yeah,
were good.
they were so
They were
popular.
so good.
You know, the Rams, I looked this up because I wasn't sure, and I was like, they were the first NFL team to draw 1 million fans
Is that right?
in a season,
I believe it.
1967. Think about that. 14-game season, 7 home games, playoff games. The Coliseum fit 100,000 people.
Right.
The Rams were the team, I'm telling you, back then. I mean, celebrities, everybody was there watching them, beautiful weather on a Sunday. But that fearsome foursome, they were stars. They were the hit because the offense
Yeah,
wasn't as good
and
today.
and that was back in the day where you had all those defenses had names. The
Yeah,
the Doomsday Defense, the Purple
right.
People
Yeah.
Eaters. It was
Purple
still great.
people eaters. That's
Yeah.
right.
But the
Steel curtain.
Yep.
Rams over under is 11.5.
Hmm.
VSiN projects that there will only be 3 games where they will not be favorites, at least as of today. At
Okay.
Philadelphia, at Denver, at Seattle, and a couple of them, they just barely not favorites. I mean, a half a point. Um,
Hmm.
assuming no catastrophic injuries, and again, let's be candid. Even though the sports gods are listening, let's not do the "I don't want to jinx anything" thing. How many games do you see this team winning? And let me ask you specifically. I'm not going to ask you like a stupid question like could they go undefeated, but could this team win 14, 15 games? Mike, why don't you start this time?
That's a big ask,
I
especially
agree.
in this day and age of football. This is so physical and everything. And like I
Yes, it
said, their
is.
travel early on stuff. That's a big ask. I want to say I could see him going 12 to 13 wins,
Yeah.
but I could be wrong. They might go more. They could go less. It's so difficult to predict. Like you said, those are tough games, though, because Philadelphia, they should have won last year, even. They blew the lead. So that's a game they really want. Denver's going to be tough. And Seattle. It's always a crazy game. But the thing is, they don't play them till the end of the year, both games, or late Christmas, I think. And the end of the season. I don't know why they did the schedule like that. So I want to say I'll go like a 12-5 just to be modest about it. How's that?
And I wonder, Brian, you want to hear what you have to say, but I just want to say, I think Seattle is getting not the respect it deserves. They were a really good team last year, and it's not their fault that the New England Patriots didn't play anybody and didn't belong there. It's not like they squeaked by them. They killed them, and everybody's dismissing it. Oh, they killed the Patriots, so what? And again, like Chris always talks about how they're going to get motivated by this. I could just see Seattle becoming very motivated by this. We're not getting respected. So what do you think, Brian? How many wins? And let me ask you specifically: will they sweep Seattle this year? Yes or no?
I don't see that, Bill. No, honestly. I mean,
Yeah, I don't either.
when you first asked the question, the first number I happen to agree with came into my head with Mike. I think they're probably 12 wins. Something that we talked about before we went on the air. They had, the suspensions that are potentially coming up, with Puka Nakua and Alaric Jackson, so that's at the beginning of the year. I mean, if that's the beginning of the year, you're going to play the 49ers, in Melbourne, possibly without your starting left tackle and your number one wide receiver. The division is tough. They have the Cowboys, they have Buffalo, and the other thing too is you got to remember with all this hype, the Rams are becoming the big game on everybody's schedule. So for 17 weeks, you're going to get the other team's best shot. And, I think that's something to keep in mind as well. And like I said at the beginning, and again, Mike would agree with me, just too many wacky things happen with this franchise.
I agree.
And it sounds great, 14, but like the Rams don't go 14-3. I mean, like it's this, they'll find a way to lose. I mean, a couple years ago, they lost to the winless Jets, came in the SoFi and beat them. Like, I mean, like these are the type of things that happen. So Seattle is week, I think 15 and 17. So there's who knows what things look like by then, but I would have them at a 12-win team this year.
Okay. I was just trying to bait you guys into saying something stupid that we could use against you.
No,
in
we're
the future,
measured, Brian and I.
but no, that was your restraint is admirable. So there's been a lot made of the big contract given to Bijan Robinson, and then the even bigger one given to Jahmyr Gibbs. Gibbs carried 243 times last year for 1,223 yards, 5 yards a carry, which is great. Kyron Williams carried 259 times for about 30 more yards and a 4.8 yards per carry average. Now, Gibbs is used a lot more in the passing game, but is this one of the most underappreciated running backs in the NFL? I mean, does he give up that much?
You want me to go, Brian?
Okay,
Yeah.
Mike.
Age before beauty, whatever it is. Anyhow, listen, that's a hell of a combo between Williams and Blake Corum. Don't forget about Blake Corum. He's
Actually,
a heck of a. He could be a starter.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyhow, but Williams is good. Now, he had a fumbling issue a couple of years ago. Remember that? And he fumbled in the Eagles playoff game. He had some fumbling issues. He was better last year, but he is underrated, I think. He's very solid, very shifty, very tough. But I just love that 1-2 combo. I think Blake makes him better because I don't know, every down. Anytime that second back, it's so much better for both the backs, right? Less carries. They just kind of work together. But Williams is definitely a guy. He's going to get paid. He's going to be top. As long as he holds on the ball, he's one of the best backs in the league. No doubt. He's a top 5 back, I think.
Well, and I'll switch to Brian for the point was gonna make about Corum, and you largely made. I believe he had the most yards last year of any number 2 back in football, other than Kyle Manangi, however you say his name, of the Bears, who had about 10 more yards. I mean, is this the best running back combination in the NFL?
Bill, it's interesting because they're almost the same player. They're both smaller, shifty guys who can catch the ball out of the backfield. It seems like to me combined, they don't weigh 300 pounds. I'm being sarcastic with that, but usually like the Giants years when they had thunder and lightning, they were 2 different type of guys, and Corum and Williams are very similar type back. So I was interested when they drafted Corum. It's almost like you sort of have a guy like this already with Williams, but Corum, his first year broke his forearm, so they lost him then. But he broke out last year, and I'll tell you what, Bill. Like I was surprised a lot of the times, when the game would come back from commercial and it was a tight game, and I looked in the backfield and 22 was back there instead of 23, and I'm like, geez, Williams is not in the game. They went, with Corum. So I think Corum has really earned McVay's trust more and more, and I think you're going to see that this year. So it's a great tandem for sure. Are they the best in the league? I'm not sure about that, but with Corum coming on the way he did and Williams had him in a breakout year, it's a pretty good duo.
So Mike, you always hear the Rams use the 13 formation, the insider's way of saying 3 tight ends. Are the tight ends the unsung heroes of this team? They seem to rely on these guys a lot.
Yeah, they do, but it seems like always one of them goes down. Like Higbee was great. He went down, and then Parkinson, whatever. The other guys, did they draft another one too? I thought they got another one now.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
They got another one. So no doubt in McVay's offense, he likes to use them. And he'll use everybody. The way Sean is. He'll do all sorts of things. He's got kind of conservative now he's kind of opening up again. It seems like some of those few years ago, it seemed like it was kind of just more predictable, but I can see them using them. So yeah, they're definitely unsung. It's kind of like the offense. It's like Puka's the star, right? I mean, we know Puka is arguably the best receiver in the league. He's just so incredible. And then everybody else kind of fits in. He's still got Devontae, but the tight ends to me are always going to be secondary on most teams, right? Because you got the bigger stars, a running back, receiver, whatever you want to do. But they're definitely important in his offensive scheme. No question about it.
So let me ask each of you this. Start with Brian. who or what do you see as the single most important, the key to the Rams winning it all this season? Is there somebody you might point to and say, if this guy needs to step up, or if this guy does that, or maybe a unit, the O line, the linebackers? Brian, is there something like that you would identify as the key to hoisting the Lombardi Trophy?
Besides Stafford.
Yeah, that's obvious.
Right. Besides him
Right.
staying healthy.
Yeah, I mean, Bill, this is another thing. I guess a question that Rams fans have is that who's our third wide receiver?
Mhm.
And you just had the discussion with Mike that I think one of the reasons why they don't prioritize a third wide receiver is because of the amount that they use the tight ends. But you think about it, and listen, he had a fantastic year, but Davante Adams, he had 14 touchdowns last year, and I'm just throwing this off the top of my head. 7 of them were probably inside the 5-yard line that they would just throw a slant or some type of fade to. Like, Adams is not catching the ball at the 40-yard line and breaking through 5 tackles to get to the end zone. So I would say, who's going to step up as that third receiver, especially if Nacua is suspended, to start the year.
Yeah. Mike?
I'm back. I was in the dark, as usual. Not the movie Wait Until Dark, the great Alan Arkin classic. Anyhow, by the way, I wanted to show, this is not my room. As you can see, there's movie posters in here. My daughter, film production major, she works in the business. She's in LA. She loves film. So Sam's probably go, wait a minute, what is this poster Mike has of Kendrick Lamar near him? But that's
I didn't know you were a fan. I didn't know you were a fan.
I'm a
Mike.
fan. Compton,
Okay.
California.
Let me, Mike, bring you back to
Yes, sir.
what we're here
That was for
for.
Sam. Here's my thing about the listen, the secondary I talked about, huge, right? They got Defender, that's why they got McDuffie, and that's why they got Watson. Huge. But you know what? The special teams let them down, right? The kicking let them down, the punting let them down at times. You gotta have that. You gotta have good punting, good kicking. So we gotta hope the kicker they got in the last year was pretty good. So I'm going to say the secondary or the special teams because Matt's Matt. That goes without saying. But I think it's going to be in those areas, probably more the secondary because that really, if they had a good secondary, they would have beat Seattle last year and they would have been the Super Bowl champs. Because that was the Super Bowl last year. Let's be honest. That game, NFC title game, was literally the 2 best teams.
And so, talking about the wide receivers, you guys are anticipating very well. I wonder if the reason they use 3 tight ends so much is just the converse, because they don't have the third wide receiver they can really lean on. And I noticed last year, Puka caught 69 more passes than Davante Adams did. He had those 14 touchdowns on 60 catches. He's 35 years old. I mean, he's not getting any younger. He's still good. But if anything happens to Nacua, could this become a major weakness for this team? Brian.
Yeah.
No,
I'll go over. Yeah, of course. Puka, like I say, I think he's the best in the league, honestly, because he could do short balls, long balls, everything. He is as good as anybody. 5th round draft choice, Bill. It's crazy. 5th rounder. I mean, he's a fantastic player. So he goes down. Yeah, it's going to be difficult. But what was I say? I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I mean, you got to have him back there. You got to have him do his thing. And also, don't forget, the Rams have a third back they don't use, Jaquez Hunter. This guy can't even get in the game to play. He's pretty good. He's from Iowa. That's another good back they have. So they got guys that can't even get in that are good. So they're kind of loaded at a lot of positions. But yeah, Puka, he goes. It's kind of probably the second most important player behind Stafford.
Sam, go ahead.
Yeah, how beloved is Puka? I mean, because I'll be honest, nobody explained it. He was really, really late in the draft, and a lot of people down here at BYU are like, well, Puka, man, we knew he was going to be this good. No, you didn't. No, you did not. Puka was not this good in college. So, like, how beloved is he for the Rams?
You want to go first, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, you know what, Sam? He's I think, obviously being a late round pick, is one of the factors, but just the way that he plays, I think endears himself to the fans. Like you watch interviews with him, he loves to run block as much as he loves catching balls. And that type of just getting in the line, looking to hit somebody. He plays tough, he plays hard, he does all those gritty things, and I think always makes you fan favorite. I mean, let's be fair. I think a lot of his off season after the Super Bowl last year turned him off, to a lot of people. But as a Rams fan, you just appreciate all of those little things that he does, his energy, his fun. I don't think I've ever seen him have a press conference where he wasn't laughing at something. So, those are all the things that endure him to the fans. And, Mike, you're out there, so you maybe can give a little
Yeah.
better answer. But, I mean, those are the things
Yeah.
I've seen.
He's one of the most popular Rams I've seen, honestly. But
Really?
a little hiccups last year, right? Okay, Sam, get this. He's going to Laker games all the time. I mean, he's talking about
Yeah.
the Laker game. He's
I've
watching the
seen him, yep.
game. He's all over the town. He's hitting parties. So things caught up with him, right? We know about some of the off the field stuff that took place. He had to go to the rehab. There's a suit. So he kind of let things get away. I think hopefully he's on the right track again. But one thing about McVay, and the Rams, they're button up. If you don't abide by the rules, you're not playing. You won't even be on the team. McVay doesn't take anything. And it's a certain way you got to be a Ram. They have a certain culture. And if you're not going to abide by that, and they talked to him, I'm sure, and he said he talked to his family. So he has to watch, he has to be careful, but he's such a likable guy, like you say. He is always smiling, having a great time. He's bouncing off guys. So listen, he's up for a big contract. They didn't give it to him yet because of what happened last year. So he's in his last year of this one. But if things go well, he'll get it. But very, very popular out here. In LA, listen, if you hit the LA market, you're popular, that's saying something because there's a lot of competition for that entertainment dollar, for that popular. There's so many Shoheis out there, obviously. We had LeBron here, he's gone. Monica's, So we had different people. So he's hit that kind of thing,
Well,
So anyhow, popular. So let's see if he stays on track, though. That's important for him.
in Hollywood too, I hear he's going to make a cameo in the remake of Love at First Bite. Is there any truth to that?
Are you talking about, Bill? Are you talking about the George Hamilton classic?
Of course I am.
No one else knows that film but you and me.
Look
The
it
great
up.
George Hamilton. Sam's dying.
Oh my
Sam, you
God.
gotta get that in your VCR.
Go
Oh.
ahead, Sam. Go ahead, Sam.
There's
A host has-
opportunity.
a good
Jesus,
host
Bill.
has to maintain his composure, Sam. Please.
Well, I can't when you say stuff like that. I mean, geez. Puka is a great guy. He is a great guy. I was actually, speaking of movies, 2 years ago, I was at a movie theater in Provo and buying popcorn. I turn around, bump into this guy. I'm like, God, it. Drop my popcorn all over. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to kill me. And I look up and it's Puka Nakua. And he's like, dude,
Wow.
don't worry. He's like, dude, don't worry about it, bro. What was it, a large or a medium? I'm like, it was a medium. He was like, can I get another medium for this guy? Great guy. Puka is a great guy, but yeah, I mean, and stay off the Twitch. Stay off the YouTube. Stay off the Twitch. Same with Cam Scadaboot. Guys, stay off with the Twitch streamers,
Right.
all right? Enough, okay? And stop doing backflips on a stage, okay? That's annoying too. But anyway, on to you. You mentioned jerseys, okay? Which jersey combo is your guys' favorite? Because I know Mad Dog loves, I think it was like the 2018 jersey combo. He
Oh,
loves
I'm in
that.
New Jersey for a minute.
You want to talk a
Jersey.
little on that? Oh, no. The jersey, the Ram
Got it.
jerseys.
Got it.
Which ones is your favorite? Because you guys got some great ones.
I could definitely tell you what it's not. It's the year when they wore the mismatched jersey with the helmets. I think when they moved back to LA, they were wearing the
Yeah.
white jersey all year, and
Yeah.
they had the white horns on the helmet. And then they played, I think, one game at the Cowboys where the Cowboys wore white at home, and they wore the blue and gold St. Louis jersey with the helmet with the white horns, and it looked just awful. It was embarrassing as could be. So it's definitely not that one. For me, it's always going to be the '80s. It's the royal blue with the yellow pants. You know, that's always going to be for me. And even now, whenever they wear the royal blue with the yellow pant combination, is the one I like the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that one too. But you know what? Going back to those, the great Roman Gabriel at the Coliseum and that white, little blue, that was pretty classic when they wore that one too. They've had some good ones, but anything St. Louis, I despise because
Yeah.
I pretty much divorced myself from that team when they moved to St. Louis because I knew what was behind the move and everything about it. I didn't watch football. I didn't have a team for 20 years. I would not root for them. I'm sorry. They're not based here. They're not the Rams. I ain't rooting for them. So when they came back, oh my God. My son even have a football team, right? He's 29. He can root for anybody. He saw me. He goes, I don't like any of these teams. I want the Rams too, like you like. Finally got back here. It's been fantastic. It's just been absolutely just heaven. So yeah, no St. Louis stuff though.
Okay, so first, Mike, who is the breakout player of the year for the Rams? Is it one of the other defensive linemen, Byron Young, Kobe Taylor? Because Garrett and Garrett is going to get triple teamed constantly. Who is, or is it somebody else? Who is going to be the guy we really hear a lot of this year as having a big year?
I'm gonna go one of the secondary guys like Trent McDuffie, one of those guys, McDuffie or Watson, because they're gonna test the Rams, right? Because the secondary's been so bad, so they're gonna test those guys out there. And I see one of those guys stepping up, definitely big time. But like you said, the other guys on the line, they're gonna get opportunities too. So there's gonna be a lot of opportunities. But I'm really interested to see what that secondary does, to see how good they'll be.
Brian?
Well, because we have 580 of them, I'm going to go with a tight end, and I'm going to say Ferguson from Oregon. I think they're going to utilize him a little bit more this year. I mean, in his second year, and obviously they play a lot of the 13 personnel with all the tight ends, and I think Ferguson takes a little bit more of a bigger role this year.
Last thing, the kicking game was a problem early last year for the Rams, and this guy Harrison Mavis came in and kind of stabilized it, and had was very good down the stretch. I'm just wondering how I just have the feeling that this could be the kind of guy who turns into a pumpkin this year. I like place kickers who look malnourished from Eastern Europe. I don't like fat guys who look like Lou Groza. That's a thing of the past. I just have the feeling I could see that being a problem. Are you guys comfortable with him going into the season? Mike?
Going into, yeah, but you're right. It seems like some of our guys just kind of go. I mean, it was great when they had Zerline and Hecker. That was an incredible combination, but it's been a little kind of mix and match the last few years. But this guy looked good. Probably the best kicker we've had since Matt Gay, right, when we won the Super Bowl. But it's been. I thought the guy Cardi was going to be good, and then he just was terrible last year. He's like missing. Balls are kicked to my house. I mean, at SoFi, I don't know what was going on there. He's shanking left, shanking right. So, Mevis, hopefully, I know he's a little husky, but that's okay, Bill. He wears one of those. What's his number, too? Isn't it one of those higher numbers, too? But I kind of like guys like that. Yeah, it's different, though, right? It's not the Jan Steneroods or the world, or... Huh?
I think he's 92.
Yeah, he's up there. So it could go either way. Let's put it that way. We'll just have to wait and see. But all these kickers, right? Sometimes they're like, "What happened to this guy?" So let's hope he stays good.
Brian, are you confident?
You know what, Bill? If you lived through the beginning of last year with Cardi, anybody that was just kicking the ball through the uprights made us feel good. And the other thing too is, McVay fired his special teams coach. So when you'd watch Cardi miss all these kicks, McVay would always talk about it was an entire operation from the long snapper to the everything. So he never threw Cardi under the bus. It was an operation thing, and he ended up making a change with the special teams coach. He fired the ex-Giant Blackburn. Chase Blackburn was the special teams coach. So listen, he put that ball through the uprights at Soldier Field when it was 0 degrees on that playoff game, barely from
Yes, he
42
did.
yards or whatever. And he had a good year. So what
Yes,
we
he
dealt
did.
with, what we dealt with at the beginning last year, he came in and he was like, wow, the balls are actually going through the upright. So I am confident going in. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because the other thing that makes me uncomfortable about him, I have to confess, is the number. That's not a kicker's number. It's like in baseball. When you see a pitcher with the number 79, I'm like, get a baseball number, dude. You're not an offensive tackle. Be a baseball player. But anyway, well, we'll see. Monica?
Gentlemen, this has been so much fun, and Brian, including your cutout dog in the background. This has been a lot of fun. We really enjoyed talking Rams and so much else. So we really appreciate you guys joining us, and thanks again for your time.
That's
Yes,
been great.
thank you.
Let's do it again sometime.
All
Good
right,
job.
Yeah,
have
appreciate
a
it,
good
guys.
night,
Thank
gentlemen.
you very much.
All right. Talk to you guys later. See you, Brian. See you,
Okay.
everybody.
Take
Thank you,
care.
Peace.
guys.
You.
Okay.
Bye
Well
bye.
done.
Bye.
Well, that was a lot of fun. Those are two big time Rams fans. And Brian being in New Jersey and Mike in Orange County. I mean, they different spins on it, but good ending questions there talking about the kicker. That was pretty fun. Okay, we have arrived to question time, and it's for Bill and Chevy Chase from our friend Chris in Connecticut. Taking into account their batting average, speed, defense, and other intangibles, where would you rank these American League 5 leadoff hitters from the mid to late 70s? This is Bill's wheelhouse right here. Al Bunbury, Bill North, Mickey Rivers, Willie Wilson, and Ron LaFleur. Bill?
Thank you, Monica, and thank you, Chris. And we should actually have a segment. We should turn this into questions from Chris, because he comes up with such great ones. Chris, you've outdone yourself with this one. I mean, these guys are so close to one another. The differences are razor thin. Each of them has something going for them vis-a-vis the others, and I really had to give it some real scrutiny to make these distinctions. And if I answered this question tomorrow, it would probably be different than it's going to be tonight. I mean, when T.S. Eliot said, in a minute there is time for decisions and revisions that a minute will reverse, he was breaking down these guys. They're just minuscule. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to address this from 50,000 feet. Because if I start to get into the comparisons of each guy's number, there would on each category, they're so close, your head would explode. And you know what? Even if your head didn't explode, mine would. So here's how we're going to do this. Let me just start going through these guys. Bunbury, with the Orioles, has the biggest distinction of any of them. He was a Rookie of the Year. Now, he has the lowest WAR per 162 games. And I'm not going to say barely. Every number I'm giving you, every increment is going to be barely with these guys. But he has the lowest WAR per 162. He wasn't a great defender, actually. He did play on a championship winning team, but I would probably rank him the last. That I think is a pretty solid decision. After that, boy, it's impossible. LaFleur had a short career. He averaged 67 stolen bases per 162 games. He's probably the weakest defender of the group. I might slot him in at fourth. North, who is certainly the guy people know the least of this group. He also had a short career. He's got the best WAR per 162. And just a footnote on WAR. I don't live and die by WAR like some people do, but I do find myself using it more and more for these kind of metrics. He also had the best overall defensive metrics. He won a championship on the 74 A's. Willie Wilson, when you gave me this question, my gut reaction was, well, Wilson's the best of these guys. I actually happen to like the Royals teams he was on. I liked him. And there's actually an argument he's fourth, maybe could even argue he's fifth when you really get into it. He's the only man of these five guys with an OPS plus of under 100, which actually indicates a below average production at the plate. On the other hand, he's the only one to win a Gold Glove, which he did once. He, as well, all these guys were fast. He was incredibly fast. So Wilson, so Willie Wilson and North, you could really flip a coin on those two, which brings us to Mickey Rivers, aka Mick the Quick. Highest career batting average of the group, best slugging percentage of the group. Not that he was a slugger, not that any of these guys were. Best OPS plus, good defensive metrics. He has the most outfield assists of any of them over the course of his career, which is a little ironic because he was known to have a very weak arm. And I think it's a function of guys basically running on him all the time. And when that happens, you're going to throw some people out. Just like in football, sometimes it's the bad defensive backs who get the most interceptions because they don't throw on the good ones and they throw on you all day. So if I'm drafting a team and putting aside my personal preferences, I think Rivers goes first, North goes second. You toss a coin over Wilson and LaFleur, and you're followed by Bunbury. Chris, this was a very good question. You really made me work on this one. Very good job. Monica, you're on mute.
Yep. Well done, Chris. Well done to you, Billy, on that answer. Thanks again. Before we head out of here, I want to thank Mike from Orange County and Brian from New Jersey for joining us on the podcast. Love talking Rams football and more. We're going to have 2 podcasts next week coming up. On the 19th, we are going to talk to Golf Channel host and fellow Allentonian, Rich Lerner. We're going to talk to Rich about his new book, Aren't You That Golf Guy? Dog Legs and Detours from Life in the Game. It's a great book. I read it. Really going to enjoy it. Later next week, we're going to have a podcast with just the 3 of us, and we will be focusing on the Kansas City Chiefs with our executive producer, Sam from Utah, leading the way since he is a massive Chiefs fan. Don't forget that we can be found on Instagram and X at MTU Podcast 82. Plus, you can connect with Bill on X at Bill Chevy Chase. Once again, Bill on X at Bill Chevy Chase. Please check us out at those platforms. As always, we would like to thank everybody who's listening, commenting, liking, following, sharing, and most importantly, subscribing to Monica's Thread Unleashed on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. We'd love to hear from you via email as well, so please email your questions, comments, feedback to mtupodcast82@gmail.com. Again, that's mtupodcast82@gmail.com. We really love hearing from you. We read your questions, whether it be on the podcast or respond to them via email. That's about it. Sam, Bill, anything else for the good of the order?
Yeah, I actually have it. I'll share with you an observation I made today, totally off topic. And it's a dangerous one whenever you get me talking about the WNBA. But there's been so much talk about the WNBA lately. And all this stuff about the fouling, the fighting, the straights, the lesbians, all this stuff. But I came to this conclusion, and I'm really impressed with myself. And it's this that sums up the WNBA right now. If you are not Caitlin Clark or Sophie Cunningham, the best thing you can do to make a name for yourself in the WNBA, to put you at the very highest levels of the WNBA, isn't to go score 60 points a game or anything. It's to go smack one of them in the head. If you do that, you are going to become big time national news and get more publicity than anybody else in the league. So that I have determined is the secret, at least right now, to success in the WNBA. So there.
Sam, anything else for you? All right, gentlemen. We will see you next time on Monica's Thread Unleashed. Have a great rest of your day or evening.
Happy trails